Now we're going to learn to do a little bit of work with our lead guitar. Now this lead that we're going to learn is to use in our blues music. So naturally it's going to be in the triplet based timing, which really gives us some exciting licks to play with, much like what we were just doing in the jazz standard earlier with the arpeggio version, but just developed a little bit further. So let's have a look at what we're going to do. For a start, we're using the notes of the E minor pentatonic scale. We should all be very familiar with that now. Now what we're going to do is triplet based lick, so it's 3 notes per 1 beat, of course. Let's have a look at the first one. It's on the open 4th string, so we play that note there, and then we hammer on with the 2nd finger to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then with the upstroke we're then going to play the open 3rd string. So it's going to be a... Now much like our blues, we'll be learning to do the... We get a constant right hand motion, an up down motion that just doesn't change. The greatest things about that is the right hand motion is always down, up, down, up, down. Same thing with these licks here. So it's going to be an open, hammer on, upstroke. So let's try and do a whole bar of them, 4 of them. What we want to do is get that triplet timing there. So it's definitely 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Not like a Many people, when they're beginning to do hammer-ons and pull-offs, really have a tendency to hammer on too early or too late. So you get each note even and equal. So you see what we're doing there? We're playing the open string, 4th string, hammering on to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then with an upstroke doing the open 3rd string. So it's a... Let's try across a different string now. Let's do the open 3rd string, then hammer onto the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, the note in the minor pentatonic scale of course, and the open 2nd string. So the down on the first one, down, hammer on, up. Let's try it across the 5th string. So hammer onto the open 5th string, then hammer onto the 2nd fret, and then pluck the open 4th. Let's try a bar of that. Let's try it across the open 2nd string. So naturally with a hammer on, we can't do it onto the 2nd fret though, because the 2nd fret note is not in the pentatonic scale. It has to be the 3rd fret note, so we hammer on here. And let's try 1 bar. So you've got 4 exercises to work on there. Hammering on the 4th and 3rd string together with a downstroke on the 4th, hammer on, upstroke on the open 3rd. You've got the one across the 3rd and 2nd, downstroke on the open 3rd, hammer on, upstroke on the open 2nd. The one across the open 5th, so downstroke on the open 5th string, 2nd fret hammer on, and then upstroke on the 4th. The other one, going across the 1st and 2nd strings, we hammer on, or play the 2nd string open, hammer on with the 3rd finger onto the 3rd fret, and then open string 1st on the up. Bearing in mind there that we have to play the 3rd fret note to keep it within the notes of the E minor pentatonic scale. If we were to do the 2nd fret note, that's a different sound again, but that's not the sound we're looking for, because that's not the note out of the E minor pentatonic scale, so it won't work with our blues there. So it's these notes here, 5th and 4th, 4th and 3rd, 3rd and 2nd, and 2nd and 1st there. So interesting little licks there. So that's the start of it, playing triplet hammer-on licks, and we're just going to develop that further in the next lesson. What we're going to do in this lesson is take those triplet licks like we learned in the last lesson and develop them a little bit further. So we had the triplet licks, and the idea of them of course is that we need to keep them in exact triplet time. So it's very, very important that you get the timing right for the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's very easy when doing hammer-ons and pull-offs initially to hammer on too quickly, or after you've done the hammer-on not to hold it for the correct amount of time, to go which is wrong, or that's wrong as well. It's got to be definitely a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you count to yourself 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you'll notice there's no gaps between any of them. You want the same thing with your playing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like that there. Not a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and stopping and starting there. So you need to have it constant. Anyway, let's develop a little bit further. As you'll recall, we had the triplet lick going across the 5th and 4th string, the one across the 4th and 3rd, we had the one across the 3rd and 2nd, and then the 2nd and 1st. what we're going to do is join all of them together just once to make one bar lick. So the first beat is going to be going across the 5th and 4th, the second beat is going to be going across the 4th and 3rd, the third beat is going to be going from the 3rd to the 2nd, and the 4th beat of the bar will be going from the 2nd to 1st. And we end up with one long bar of lead there. So let's have a look at it very slowly. So on the 5th string we do a downstroke on the open, hammer onto the 2nd fret with the 2nd finger, and then an upstroke on the 4th string. And then we do a downstroke on the open 4th string, hammer on with the 2nd finger to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, then an upstroke on the 3rd string, then a downstroke on the 3rd string, hammer on with the 2nd finger to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, then an upstroke on the 2nd string, then a downstroke to the 3rd fret, a downstroke on the open 2nd string, hammer onto the 3rd fret of the 2nd string with the 3rd finger, and then an upstroke. So in effect you end up playing the strings twice, which makes it look kind of unusual on the tab there and difficult to read till you realise what we're doing. So it's a down, up, and you can hear the two open notes there in a row. But when you put that together in the triplet context it sounds okay. We'll play it through twice now. First time I'll play it very slowly, second time I'll play it at the speed you want to be able to get it to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second time. It's quite a good sounding little lick there. Now let's develop that even further again. This time what we're going to do is do the same lick again except taking out the hammer on. So we're only going to play the picked notes and then even still we're going to be putting our fingers down. So the first note we play is with a downstroke on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Then on the upstroke we're going to do an open 4th string and then a downstroke for the 2nd fret of the 4th string, then an upstroke on the open 3rd string, then a downstroke with the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, upstroke with the open 2nd string, and then a downstroke with the 3rd fret 2nd string. So it's going to go. And see we're getting the timing the same as if we were going. The same timing. Which means now that we can mould those two licks together. We can have the second lick joined to the first lick. So let's try that. We'll put the triplet bar first and then we'll do the second bar with the standard shuffle timing. And they work together quite well. And all we've done there is still playing triplets, we're just holding the first notes unlike when we're doing the hammer on with the triplets to fill in that gap in the middle there. So they both work equally well. Let's look at our third lick now. The third lick's a bit different. It uses the same timing as the second lick. We're just going to play some different notes. So the first note's actually a slide up to the 5th fret. So we're sliding from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret on a downstroke, like that. So it's a little. So what you do is with the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, play that note, and then slide it quickly up to the 5th fret. That's marked on the tab with a little SL, a slide there. That's a very popular way to play the guitar with the. And you can really hear that slide in there, really neat sliding. But for now, on this lick, we're going to slide from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret. On the downstroke. On the upstroke, we're then going to play with the first finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. We're going to play the upstroke there, 3rd fret 2nd string. Then with the downstroke, we're going to play the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Upstroke, we'll play the 3rd fret again, and then the 4th fret of the 3rd string. And then we've got the 2-0 with the first finger doing the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then the open string. And we end up with a lick. One more time. So we've got 3 licks now. We've got the lick we just did with the slide. We've got the lick just using the shuffle timing, going through the pentatonic scale. And we've got the lick where we developed our triplets and joined them all together across the strings. Now let's join all 3 of those licks together and see what we come up with. It'll be a 3-bar phrase that might be quite nice to sound in the 12-bar blues as a bit of a lead break. Let's try it out. And it's starting to sound as if we're playing lead guitar there. So that's what we're looking at, starting to muck around in our pentatonic scale with either our triplet timing hammer-on bass or pull-off bass, which we're not really going to work on just yet, we will be in session 6. And then we've got the same timing again, you're just using the shuffle though and not doing the hammer-on. And then we've got the same timing again, involving a little slide and just starting to use different notes. Of course, when we slide up to the 5th fret, 2nd fret note, or 2nd string note, that's the same as the open first. So it's still part of our pentatonic scale. We'll play that note there on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. That's a B note, which is the same, of course, as our open 2nd string. So that's the same note. So we're still playing notes out of the pentatonic scale there. Make sure you get the right hand doing this down and up in a constant sort of a motion there. And that's what we want. All the way through the blues, we're going to be keeping up the motion. And when we do our lead, same motion. See the down and up, always the same. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So that's the timing we want. So 3 new licks there to work on. It's the beginnings of our true lead guitar. So spend a bit of time and really get it right. What we're going to do now is another type of blues lick. This one's going to be based around a chord, and we're still going to continue to hold the chord format, and then we're going to play our lick on top of that without moving any of the fingers off the chord as such. So the first one we're going to do is on an E chord. Now what we're going to do is have a good look at the tab there. Now as you can see, it plays all 6 strings on the first beat, and then just an upstroke, of course, with the open 1st string there. So we end up with the first beat just being a... Then what we're going to do is with our little finger, we're going to play the 2nd fret of the 2nd string note, putting it down there while still holding the chord. The 4th finger is going to go onto the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. We're going to play that with a downstroke, just that one note, and then we're going to pull that note off with the 4th finger just doing the pull off. It's quite tricky because it takes a bit of strength with the 4th finger to get the pull off. Like that. And then on the upstroke, because we're still doing the down up of course, we're going to play the open 2nd string again. So the first 2 beats are going to go... See how it works there? So a downstroke across all of them on the first beat, then the open 1st string, then a downstroke. We're just going to pluck the 2nd string only, with the 4th finger fretting the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. I'm just going to play that note only, then pull it off, and then the upstroke we're going to play the open string again. So we end up getting 2 Bs in a row there. So we end up with this. Then we're going to do the same thing on the 3rd fret by moving the little 4th finger up to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. We're going to play the note with a downstroke, then pull it off to open, and then with an upstroke play the open 2nd string again. This is what we'll get for the first 3 beats of the bar. Have a good look at the right hand, what it's doing with down and up there. See where it's playing the upstrokes there? And then the last beat, we're just going to go back and do the 2nd fret note again. So we have 1 bar of music there. All using our triplets there. Very, very slowly. Remembering where the pull-offs are. So have a good look at the tab in the music to see where the pull-offs are, and make sure you get it exactly right, following the picking pattern there as well. And that's a real good effect. That's one of these effects when it cranks up to speed, it's a really nifty sort of a country blues type effect. That sort of thing there, really nifty effect. We're going to use it in our blues of course, and we'll still get that really nice sort of a lead sound, combining the lead and the rhythm. Especially if you can keep the chord and allow the chord to keep on ringing through, it really has even a greater effect then. So let's do the same on an A7 chord. So we'll fret the fingers for an A7 chord like this, and we're going to do the downstroke of course on the first beat across all the strings, then the upstroke we're just going to play the open 1st string, then on the next beat we're then going to put the little 4th finger to the 2nd fret of the 1st string, play the downstroke on that, then pull it off, and then on the upstroke to open again. So this is that bar so far. Then the next beat we'll move the little finger up to the 3rd fret of the 1st string, and a downstroke, play the 3rd fret note, pull it off, and then open note. And then the last beat we'll go back into the 2nd fret again. So very, very slowly now. And up to speed. Try the 2 bars together. 1 bar of E and 1 bar of A7 like that. interesting sound there, one of these really nifty effects. What you have to do is get right into the mold of doing the triplet bass timing there, and with the right hand, of course, it's just doing the down, up, down, which is what we want all our blues bass licks to do. Keep up that triplet timing there. So another really hard one to practice there. So that's 3 different ideas: hammer-ons and pull-offs, shuffle bass licks, and then also using the slide, and now the rhythm-based lead as well. Quite tricky to do, well worth the practice though.